Because the one thing about Zoom is you can't really tell. So
okay, it says we're live on Facebook. So hey everyone, it's Mary Fain Brandt with the LinkedIn Bakery, serving up bite-sized tips so you don't get overwhelmed. And it's November, and it says we're live on Facebook. So
okay, I needed.
We're having some technical difficulties, so if you're watching, can you give us a thumbs up so we know that everything's working? Lynda and I are both, hi, thanks Lynda. Lynda and I are both on location at networking events, and tonight we're talking about networking because it's November and I've themed it Networking November, and I wanted to bring on my friend and colleague, Lynda West, who we actually met at a networking event, and we were talking about this, Lynda. I think we met 3 years ago at Wink.
I think so too. And I'm going to check something right here. Want to see if I actually pop up in the screen, because if not, I got to do some fiddling in the background. But
okay. So folks, if you're watching, Amy, if you're watching, can you give us a thumbs up so we know?
It's working. It's working. We're good.
Are we working?
Yes.
Okay, so y'all know that I have a saying that I always say, that I have a love-hate relationship with technology. I love it when it works and I hate it when it doesn't. So you know what, you just gotta roll with it. I spoke recently at San Diego Social Media Conference and the tech wasn't working. And you know what, at some point you just go for it and you just do the best you can. So I'm glad that we're up live working on Facebook. Thank you everyone for tuning in. If you could let us know where you're watching from, because we want to engage with you. We want to know where you're watching from, San Diego, New York, Ireland, wherever it's from. And we also want to know what industry are you in? Because one of my God-given talents is being a connector, and I love to connect people with other people that they want to be connected with, whether it's a referral or a sponsor or a client. So please let me know what industry you're in and where you're watching from. And Lynda and I are just kind of watching each other as we're hoping that this is working. And if not, it's a learning experience, right?
Yes, it is working. So what I was trying to do there, Mary, is Zoom, which streams to Facebook, which is what we're using right now, is there's an opportunity to have just one person show at a time. So as that person is speaking, we're seeing only them, and then it goes back and forth, or to have a side-by-side. So right now-
we have a side-by-side?
Yes, we're side-by-side now, so yay!
Oh, because I see you on the top of my screen.
Okay, if you're on Facebook, you can actually see a side-by-side, so.
Oh, I just have the Zoom screen open. I'm not that techie yet. Should I go onto my Facebook page?
No, we're good. We're good.
Okay. We'll go back. So you guys, if you're watching, we really want to know what your questions are, and we're going to go back in and we're going to answer those questions and engage with you. So just bear with us. I want to let you know that this is the first time I'm bringing a guest on, but I am planning on having one guest per month come on my Facebook live show. So if you have a hot topic that you're dying to get out there, that my audience, my network needs to know about, send me a message, connect with me on LinkedIn and send me an email, and we can have a conversation about whether this is the right platform for you and I to collaborate on. So anyways, Lynda and I met about 3 years ago at a networking event, and I think we were both very, very new to networking, right?
Well, depends on your definition of new.
New to networking for our businesses.
Yes, definitely. But first of all, I want to say we've got Stephen De La Cruz on here from San Diego, and we have Marissa from San Diego.
Oh,
I'm sorry I have to disappear when I see the comments because they're like way down there.
So you guys, we're going to figure this all out, but we just wanted to jump on here because Lynda and I met at networking, and it was kind of funny. We kind of followed each other around the circuit, the network circuit, probably our first year out there. And we became friends and colleagues and very supportive. But you know what? I want to let Lynda kind of introduce herself and where she's at now. I've known her for the last 3 years, and she's done a few different things. And I want her to share with you what her business is now in case she's someone that you need to network with. So Lynda?
Okay, I'm trying to make it, hold on. I was trying to make it so I can see the comments up here, but I can't. So, okay. Hi, my name is Lynda West, and I have a company called Living Live with Lynda. And one of the things I absolutely love doing is helping people be seen and be heard. But my favorite thing is to help you discover your path to freedom. What does freedom mean to you? And a lot of times it's just working through your fears And when you release those fears, you gain freedom in your life. And that's what I do.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Lynda, for joining me tonight. I really, really appreciate you being on here and taking the time. And it's funny that we're both on location. So I'm at a networking event with about 45 fabulous women right here on the other side of this drape, because I'm at Hera Hub and we're doing our Thanksgiving potluck. And I just met some fabulous women. And you know what? The best networking is when you just ask people who they are and what they do. So, but Lynda, where are you at tonight?
Well, tonight I'm actually filming the first modules to a course that I have launching in January called 12 Months to Freedom. And I'm masterminding at my coach's office. Get on over here. Oh, he's taking pictures of me now. But it's my coach's office.
Paparazzi.
Yeah, and they have this whole setup, like this whole entire video setup. And so he offered this to me to come down here. I can mastermind with him while I'm doing my modules, which is so cool to have somebody who knows what they're doing help me along the way. So that's where I am. Here at Stagila Success Mastery. And Success Circle is a program I'm in. It's really amazing. If you're interested in finding a coach, I highly recommend it.
Awesome. Well, we want to dive right into our topic tonight, which is networking. And so I've been doing bite-sized tips, Monday motivation, and then my Tuesday tip on networking, how to network, how to go from online to in person. We're going to talk next week on how to network if you're an introvert, some things you can do. But I invited Lynda on because she's a fabulous networker, in my opinion. You know, she is fearless. And it does take, you have to get rid of the fear to go out there and network. But I want to share one thing. So Lynda and I, we went to a networking event. Remember the one up in like UTC? Mm-hmm. We went together. Mm-hmm. And we were both like, yeah, let's go check out this new networking, event. Yeah, this networking group. We're like, cool, because we needed to expand our circle, right? We've been going to all the networking events right here in the little circle. And we're like, we need to get out and expand ourselves. So we went to this networking event. We drove up together. There were 4 people in the room, folks, and we were half of them. And I looked at Lynda. I was like, what a waste of time. You get dressed, you drive up there, you buy lunch. I was just like, wow. I was just feeling defeated. And Lynda's like, well, let's just, let's go. We walked in and we looked and there were only 2 other people. And so the moral of the story is we sat down, we had a nice lunch, and I had a workshop coming up, and I was very awful at promoting myself at that time. And Lynda turned to the person and said, oh, did Mary tell you about her workshop? It's next week. And we had 2 people besides us there, and 1 person bought a full price ticket to my workshop. Awesome. So, yeah. So I share that story that when you go to a networking event, make the best of it. That's the moral of the story.
Yeah, exactly, Mary. And the one thing that we learned with that is that, sometimes we have difficulty promoting ourselves. A lot of us have that difficulty because maybe we don't see exactly who we are, but others do, right? So you brought up a good point there, and that was that I said, hey, did you know about Mary's event? And so I had an opportunity to promote you without you promoting yourself. And we didn't go in there with that intention, but it's like I wanted them to find out what you were doing, because what you do is absolutely amazing, and you help so many people. So I'm like one of your best advocates, there are a lot of people who are going to cheer you on, and those are the people that you want to take to a networking event with you, because you can do that for each other. So it's really awesome. And
it's organic and natural, because Lynda is one of my cheerleaders. If you look at any of my banners on social media, it says laser focused sessions. I'm reading it. Keep you on track. Lynda M. West. So she's actually my reputation builder right now on all my social media platforms. So thank you, Lynda. But yeah, that was for me, that was a learning experience, because I was like, why even bother? Spending my money on lunch and sitting there with 2 other people. But I learned that, always go in with an open mind, and always just go in to meet. All you need is 1 person, 1 connection, and it's a successful networking, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Even if you don't make a connection at that networking event, that's like an ongoing connection. It's still good to put yourself into a situation that you're fearful of. And like you mentioned, she's fearless, but actually, Mary, I'm not fearless. I actually am full of fear, but I crush my fear as I walk into a door. And so what happens is I'm actually nervous in my car. I'm talking to myself, saying all this stuff like, why are you going? You really don't want to go here. But then I have to say, you need to be here because you are scared. And so I just make myself do the things I'm scared to do. So it might appear that I'm not scared. It might appear that I'm not shy, but I'm actually a very shy person. But
and that's why I wanted to have you on, because I actually do know that little bit about you, that, you know, you do have the fear, but you conquer your fear, and you conquer that fear by putting yourself in situations that you're not real comfortable with. And just, you know, and people think, they see me on video and they're like, oh, you're such a natural. I'm like, I hate being on camera. And they're like, what? I'm like, oh, I hate it. I absolutely hate, like, this right now is not my comfort zone, and people think it is. I'm like, no, it's just something I have to do for my business, and I want to add value to all my clients and my network out there. So I know I need to do live shows, but it's totally not my comfort zone. And about 6 weeks ago, I went to 6 Degrees networking event all by myself, right? Going all by myself, and it was some dog fundraiser thing. So everyone had dogs. I don't have a dog. I'm by myself. I don't know anyone. And I'm like, what am I doing here? And I ended up running into one person that I knew that I hadn't seen in a long time. And then from that person, you know what? I took a picture and I was like, hey, look who I ran into, because it was a friend of a friend of a friend. And then I just started having, you know, that was the icebreaker. And then taking some photos, putting them on Facebook, and everyone's like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm checking in. And they're like, oh, we should check in? Yeah, you're at an event. You should check in, say the networking event that you're at, take a picture with someone and tag them to help increase your visibility. So again, not my comfort zone.
So there's a lot of things that happen when you do that one tag, right? You increase the visibility of yourself, but you also are making connections with others. You're increasing their visibility. You're increasing the venue's visibility. You're increasing the networking events visibility. So you're doing a lot by just doing that one act, which you might think, well, I don't really want to check in because, you know, it's really not important for people to know where I am. But think beyond you and think about all the other people that you're also bringing into your world, which is also bringing you into their world.
Right. It's that cross, then you get that cross exposure. And what I've seen happen when doing that, because I'm really getting into that now with promoting other people, places, and events and services and products, is that I do it because I want to, but they look at it like, wow, thank you. And I'm like, you're welcome. That's what we're supposed to do, right? Like naturally, that's what we should do as people.
Right. And some people don't like to, they feel like it's self-promotion, but really, you know, you're helping promote others. And if you're not a cheerleader for yourself, why should anybody else be a cheerleader for you? Think about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Toot that horn, toot it.
I hate tooting my own horn. I'm like the worst salesperson. It's not my thing. I can talk about what I do. Like I'm great once I'm up on stage, like talking about LinkedIn, I'm like on it. But talking about what I do, like on more of like to sell things or to fill up my labs. So it's not my comfort zone. So I wanted to talk about networking tonight with you. And we kind of talked about maybe what we would go over. And do you want to jump into like the worst networking experience that you had?
Oh gosh, there've been a lot of them. But the worst one, I would say, I know that we talked about it the other day, and I don't remember which one I brought up to you, but one came to mind today that might actually trump that one. And that is that I attended this event. I won't say what networking group it was, but I attended this event, and I was really excited to go. It was a free event. It was my first networking event, and my sister and I went together. We needed each other because there was no way I was going to go by myself. Right. So we showed up at this event.
So wait, pro tip on networking, take someone with you. It's like a comfort zone. Grab someone, make them go.
Yeah, and it's actually great if you're an introvert, like you're going to talk to somebody that introvert, you know, a couple of weeks or whatever, but it's really great if you're an introvert to have that cheerleader with you, so you guys both go and support each other.
Right.
So we show up at this event, and there's like 300 people, and here's my first one, right? So I'm thinking like, wow, this is crazy. This is awesome. I love it. And this one woman met us like at the very beginning. And it was really, really nice. We really connected really well. And then she said the thing that I didn't know about at that time was, let's go on a coffee date. And I'm like, oh, cool. She wants to get to know me. She was really nice. So this is going to be fun. So we ended up going on a coffee date, my first ever coffee date. And she ended up pulling out all of her products onto the table. Now, I was mortified. and she was like, so what do you want to buy? And I went, what? Yeah. I was like, this is what a coffee date is? Like, you don't really want to get to know each other. It's just about selling to each other. Like, I'm not interested in that. I want to get to know people first before I decide if, you know, I want to buy something, or if I want to share with them like what I'm doing to see if it's something that they're interested in. And so, yeah, literally she said that. And I was like, what's the cheapest? And I bought the cheapest thing, which was $40. Yes. And did I regret it? Yes, tremendously. But I learned a lot of lessons. You know, it's like, sometimes you have regret, but then what are the lessons that you learn from the regret? Well, the lesson I learned there was find out what someone's intention is when they want to meet you for a coffee date. If they want to sell to you, maybe that's not really the coffee date you want to go on. What's your intention when you're going on a coffee date? Is it to sell to people? Then you got to really think that, because this is about building relationships, because you want it to last forever. So this one person took that hour and a half of my time and made me just have a distasteful feeling about coffee dates. Whereas if this person had built a relationship with me, I might have bought product after product after product from her. Instead, yes, I bought one, which I shouldn't have, but I spent $40 and I will never talk to that person again, because she just brought that out to me, and it didn't make me feel good at all. It made me feel awful.
Yeah, so that's great. So intentions, you know, I want to talk about being intentional when you network. And, you know, when you start off networking, you're just going to every event, trying to get your name out there, trying to get your business out there. I think we all start off that way. But what I learned after my first year of like going to too many events, spending way too much time and money, and not going to the right events, what I did this year is I created an intention. So every time I would go to a networking event, I have the intention, for me, it's to meet 3 people. And yes, the event could have 40 people or 100 people, but my intention was to meet 3 quality people, someone that I could partner up with. Like maybe we'd be a referral source for each other. That just happened out here. Someone that I didn't think of as we're talking to each other, and the third person was sitting over there. They're like, you two need to collaborate. And I was like, oh, yeah, we should. So we're going to start collaborating. But I go with the intention of meeting 3 people, someone that I might collaborate with, someone that I might need their services, and then just someone that I want to kind of hang out with, get to know better. So for me, like going to a networking event can be really overwhelming because there's so many people, and I can't talk to everyone there. So I want to meet 3 quality people. And then those 3 people, then I want to connect, obviously, on LinkedIn. And then I want to have a coffee date, whether it's in person or on the phone, to get to know them. I don't want to sell them anything. That's never my intention when I go to a networking event. Never.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And for me, it's all about building relationships, because you have the know, like, and trust factor. And why would they want to buy from you if they don't even know you and like you? They got to go through all that stuff before they want to buy from you, especially if it's like your program is a program that you can keep giving and giving and giving. If it's a product where they buy one time, it might be a little bit different. But when you're in the service industry like we are, you want to make sure you're building that relationship, that they can trust you, and they know that when you refer them somewhere, that it's going to be somebody that they can trust, you know? So it's all about building relationships, and you can't build those relationships in a 2-minute handshake. It's not going to happen.
And you said a beautiful quote the other day, and I just want to quote you, and you can go into it. He who asks the most questions wins. And I think that is so instrumental. If you get nothing else out of this Facebook show, write this down, folks. I'll put it in the comments later. He who asks the most questions wins. And Lynda, why don't you tell us what that means in networking?
Well, when we go to networking events, a lot of times we're so wrapped up in what we are going to say, what we want to say, and what we want to make sure people hear. But if you go to it with a different intention, and that is to learn as much as you can about the other person, you can find out what are their wants and needs. Now, maybe you're not the solution, but maybe you know the solution. Maybe you have the solution by way of somebody else. So when you talk to people and have conversations with them and you learn a lot about them, you can find out what their needs and wants are. So like I said, it's not about you always being their solution, because maybe you have the solution, which means if you solve their problem, they're going to think of you next time they meet somebody who needs you as their actual solution. So you can't hear what they're saying if you're too busy talking. So it's all about listening to them. And here's one thing I learned was that when you leave a networking event and you you say, wow, that person was so interesting. A lot of times it's because that person was asking you a lot of questions. They were really curious about you, which made you think of them as being interesting. It's kind of weird how we think that.
It makes sense though. I mean, so I always, I want to get to know other people instead of talking about myself. And some people that are watching this, like if any of my family's watching this, will be like, nah, that's not true. I'm like, family's different, right? But in networking, like I want to get to know the people there. And like you said, I'm not always the solution that they need, but I am a connector like you are. I like to connect people with people that can help them, support them, encourage them, and grow their businesses or whatever their need is. So I think that's really important key. So pro tip, folks, I like to do a pro tip is to listen first and to get to know the person that you're talking to. If it's meant to be an ideal connection, then it'll happen afterwards. I'd like to throw in a pro tip there. I see this mistake happen all the time, and I'm guilty of it because I am not perfect. But when you go to a networking event, and you might get business cards or flyers or whatever, but I go with that intention of meeting 3 people, make sure that when you go back that you follow up and you connect with them on LinkedIn. Like that is huge. And it's not because they're going to do business with you. It's because you want to grow your network and you want to nurture that relationship. I've just had an amazing week on LinkedIn where I've added about 15 strategic connections. And I mean, I've got phone calls lined up next week because these people are just amazing. They don't need my services. They're on LinkedIn, but they are amazing, hot people that I want to get to know more so that we can collaborate and just support each other out there. So make sure that you go back and you connect with everybody on LinkedIn and Facebook after your networking events.
Here's another pro tip I learned from Scott Duffy. He's the creator of Business and Brews and Business and Burgers. And he said, here's the thing, when you network, you want to find out what do they want or need, and then you ask them, how much are you willing to pay for that? Because that will actually take care of a lot of the problems that we have when it comes to the money part, right? So like Mary, what if somebody said, I really want to get my LinkedIn up and going and I don't really know what to do. So you can just ask them, well, that's cool.
What's it worth to you?
Yeah, what is it worth? Or how much are you willing to pay? Because not how much it's worth. Because the worth is different than what somebody's willing to pay. It might be worth millions of dollars to them, but they're not willing to pay millions.
Right. Okay.
Ask them how much are you willing to pay? Because we might be able to fit that in the budget. You know what I mean?
And I have different levels of services.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you can tailor what you're delivering to them based on the amount of money that they're willing to pay.
I like that. That's a great pro tip. Thank you.
Welcome. That was so Duffy. And I got to tell you, I asked that of somebody I know very well just the other day. And he was like, I got a little scared when you asked me that. I was like, cool.
So after the end of this live show, let's dump some of those pro tips in our comments for our viewers to go back and see. We can
or if you're watching, maybe you can drop the pro tips in there for us. That'd be really awesome. Yeah.
Amy, are you watching? Amy is my Facebook muse.
I'm gonna see.
Seriously. I now have 2 Facebook muses, and they're amazing.
Okay, let's see here. We got some people on here, Mary. I'm going to tell you who we got here. We got Valerie Fain, Amy. I'm not going to say last names because I might not be able to pronounce them right.
Amy's on. That's my girl,
Amy Aram. How do you say her last name? Okay, so she's here from San Diego. We got Paula from San Diego. We got Valerie, who is in the Oregon coast. Josie Blackwell, Sherry Marks, Jamie Gonzalez. And then Amy says, I usually ask someone on a coffee date to chit chat and get to know them. That's it. Is that okay? And yes. So here's the thing. If you don't mind me taking this one, Mary.
Not at all.
Oh, I love this because yes, getting to know them. But now here's the thing, Amy, find out what is their intention as well. Because your intention could be to chit chat and get to know them. That is awesome. But their intention might be to sell you stuff. So you need to find out. Do you want to waste your time? I don't. I got tired of wasting my time at coffee dates with people who just want to sell at me because I'm a yes person. So I need to make sure I put myself in a position where I'm stuck saying yes all the time. And I don't do it anymore. I used to do it all the time. But what's happened is I've gained a lot of confidence to just say, you know what, I'd love to get together with you, but how about if we hop on a phone call for 10 minutes first? and see
I do virtual coffees.
Yeah. It's like, let's see if meeting each other in person makes sense for both of us. If I'm going to travel a half hour one way, and, you know, I want to make sure that my time is spent wisely, because time is the most precious commodity that all of us have. We don't have much of it.
High five.
High five.
High fives. Everyone high five. Because you know what? You can always make more money, but you cannot get more time. So if you take nothing else away from this, realize that when you're networking, that is your time you're giving up. So make sure that you're networking in the right circles at the right events. And that segues right into our last bullet point, which really is to, how do you find the right events? And we kind of talked about this in our early networking days and some of the stages that we were on and networking events. And we talked about how it's so important to know who your client is. Who's your ideal audience? Because if you don't know who they are, you're going to end up at the wrong networking events, wasting time, wasting money, and just wasting your breath on people that really are probably not your target audience that you won't align with.
And can I share, before we touch on that really quick, back on time, if you don't mind, I want to share an amazing tip I learned from one of my mentors, Chris Duncan, and he teaches about time, because time is, like I said, it's unlimited. It's limited. We don't know how much we have. Did you know that rich people will spend their money on things that take time because they know that time is so valuable? So they'll, like Chris, for example, he hires somebody to walk his dog because he knows that the dog needs to be walked, but he also knows that while he's walking his dog, he's not as productive as he might otherwise be. Or he pays people to do things that he doesn't want to do or he can't do. And that's just one lesson for all of us to learn. So I just wanted to throw that nugget out there because I thought that was amazing.
Absolutely. It's last month I did the optimize, organize, dump, and delete, and I was like, outsource time. Like housekeeper, virtual assistant, social media manager, whatever it is. And I'm in that space where time is a precious commodity. And I want to be working in my business, like developing the content versus handling this stuff, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Because, you know, time is this, oh my God, it's so amazing. And Amy comes in and she says, good point on the time factor. And Rosemary is here also. And Valerie. So Valerie asked, how about networking online?
I love networking online. Okay, so I love it. I've been networking online a lot on LinkedIn. Like I said, I have all these really fabulous connections that I just made. And so it's an art, I think, but you have you engage online just like you do in person. So it's not just, hey, I liked your post. That's nothing. It's like, wow, I think it was Josh. Hey, Josh, I really liked your comments. I would love to have a conversation with you. I did one funny post this week. There's these 3 guys on LinkedIn that are really active. Sean Harvey, who's hilarious. He could possibly be Batman. It says that in his headliner on LinkedIn. Adam and Mike Podesto. And I think it's Mike. We're going to jump on a call Tuesday because I put on the comments. I'm like, oh, Sean's great. I love him. I love his content. You know, he and I actually jumped on a phone call. And Mike's like, what? You got to talk to him and you haven't talked to me? He's like, I want to talk to you. And I was like, let's do it. So we're having a thoughtful phone call on Tuesday. I do a lot of virtual calls with recruiters because of the career coaching aspect of my business. And so that's a strategic person that I like to have these phone calls with, but it's also about getting to know them, not just as a recruiter, but who they are. And when you start asking those thoughtful, provoking questions, you get to know who they are. So jump on the phone, do a personal message, not just a great post, send them an email on LinkedIn or a personal message on Facebook. Please don't put all your business on Facebook, like on a post. Don't put your phone number and say, hey, call me. I want to talk to you about blah, 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 blah. Please say, that's so interesting. I'll send you a personal message. Keep it somewhat professional, or go on LinkedIn and send out those personal emails and schedule coffee dates. And I call it virtual coffee date. That's my joke, and people laugh at it. I'm like, hey, let's set up a virtual coffee date. I'll grab my coffee and you grab yours. And people are like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it saves everybody time, right? Oh, let's see, we got Melody here. Melody's in the house.
Hey, Melody. Thanks for joining us.
She says that she loves that we figured out how to make the interview work.
Yes, hey, you know what? We are determined women.
That's right.
That's my determined look. So we're kind of trying to wrap up with, networking is great. It serves a lot of purpose, but you really need to, I think, have a strategy. There's sometimes I don't, but you need to know who your ideal client and audience is. Because without knowing who your ideal client and audience is, you're going to spend a lot of time networking at venues, and events that are probably not a good fit. You're going to feel frustrated, and then you might just run away from networking. And we don't want you to do that. Lynda and I want you to embrace networking. We want to give you strategies so you can network without fear or with minimal fear and with techniques. So really know who your ideal client is. Lynda and I went, and I have a note here. I have 3 notes, Lynda. Ready? Okay. Yes. So if you don't know who your ideal client is and who partnerships would be, you could actually end up, let's say, in a vision board networking event in the back wine room with 10 people. That wasn't our best networking event. We had fun, but all we did was color. Remember, we were making our boards. It was hilarious. But really, is that the best use of 2 hours of my time? No, not for me. No, I have 5 vision boards.
Well, on that one, sorry, I have to situate myself. This chair's a little bit small for my booty. But on that one was interesting because the personality type that I am, that if I have fun, then it was worth my time. So,
right.
So it was a lot of fun for me, but it wasn't a strategic networking event. So I say yes, not strategic, but fun, yes.
And there are ones that are fun. Like this one here is a lot of fun. I can't wait to get back out there and have some dessert and wine. But this is a fun networking event, and this is more of team building within the Hera Hub community. So just know what kind of networking event, know what your intention is. Is it fun because you just need to go release and be with other people? Because a lot of people work at home, right? And I was talking to a woman tonight. She works at home. She's like, this is the only time I interact with other people. So so you need to, you do need those fun networking events. You wanted to share a story about Amanda. Do you remember? A waste of time.
Yeah, well, so one of my clients, and Melody says, yes, determined for sure. That is for sure. We are determined. Okay. So Amanda, one of my clients, and I know she wouldn't get mad at me talking about her because she's absolutely amazing, but she has figured out the best way for her to network. So she did the same thing as us, Mary. She would go to all kinds of networking events. She's a super connector. She is really, really good about asking the questions and finding out what people need, what people want, and then connecting them with their solution. And she's awesome at it. And she discovered, though, that she was going to these networking events, spending the money at the networking events, spending her time at the networking events, and not getting any clients for herself. So she figured out how she could actually attend networking events and turn it to her advantage as well as the people's attending advantage. So, for example, she has a bookkeeping business, and she discovered that, who uses bookkeepers, or who has clients who uses bookkeepers? CPAs, real estate agents, title companies, escrow agents. And so she started going to CPA events, real estate events. And so it started attending events that have the people that she could be a resource for, and vice versa. And her business has quadrupled in a year.
Because she's strategic.
Strategic, exactly.
She actually thought about what type of networking events she should go to.
Mm-hmm.
What type of networking events would have the people there that would be a strategic partner or would hire her? And that's what it really comes down to, is figuring out a strategic networking, strategy for you of like where to go.
Yeah.
There's several networking events here in San Diego, and I've been to probably half of them. And even though I love some of them, they just don't serve me, and I don't serve them anymore, because it's just not a strategic partnership. It's me just going to eat and spend money. And I don't need to do that.
No. No, exactly. Exactly.
I'd rather have lunch with like you one-on-one. We did that about a month ago.
Yep.
Lynda and I it's like, you know what? We haven't seen each other in a while. You know what? Let's go have lunch and let's just talk business and just catch up. There's no selling, no intention. It was just building on the fabulous relationship that we already have. So that is networking, folks. It is not always in a big group. I think that's important to bring out because a lot of people think networking is only when you go to an event or a conference or, you know, a big group. It's going to lunch with someone you already know, but you haven't talked to them in a while.
Right.
Or I want to get up to date with what Lynda's doing. That's networking too. It's one-on-one. It's not always going to big events.
Right.
I'm going to say everything with it's in my opinion.
Well, I agree. In your opinion.
Thank you. Do you have anything else that you want to add? Are there any questions from our viewers that?
Well, Rosemary wrote here, sometimes you have to cut some groups loose. And that is so true, Rosemary. So it's discovering where your people are, right? So here's, you wanted to talk about ideal client. I'll just share a really, really quick story on this. You know, I've been working on trying to figure out who my ideal client is for a long time. And it's changed. And one day I was thinking like, yeah, my ideal client is blah, 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 blah. And then I said to myself, wait a minute, that is not my ideal client because that's a person who just complains and complains and complains and never takes action. Like I want my clients to actually take action and get results. So I had to change who my ideal client is, but now I know exactly who it is. I've put a name to that person. And so anytime I'm looking for people that I want to connect with, I make sure I'm looking for that exact person. And I can tell people who I'm looking for. So I know exactly who it is I want to work with because I'm going to be spending a lot of hours with this person. So it's important to know who the ideal client is.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's step number one is you need to know who your ideal client and ideal audience is. Is that Rosemary Reed that's watching? Rosemary?
Yeah. Yeah.
So Rosemary and I met online on LinkedIn. That's our first connection. And then it moved to email and then a phone call. And she's associated with National Association of Professional Women. And so I spoke at the Women of Achievement and Expo this last Saturday. And I've heard of the organization. I think I was a member one year, but I never went to an event because I just wasn't sure about it. And real short, I went to this event, I spoke, and I was like, oh my gosh, these are my people. Like, these are the professional women. I know the name of the organization is National Association of Professional Women. But after going to that one event, I was like, oh, these are people that I could work with. I mean, I went around and bought stuff from all the vendors, and I had people signing up for my labs. And I'm like, oh, these are the professional women that I want to work with that are like ready to leverage their LinkedIn. I was like, okay, that's a group. I now am like, that's a networking group that I can serve and they can serve me, but I serve them first, right? It's always about giving first and serving first. So yeah, I think that sometimes you do have to go try new networking events to maybe find your people.
Yeah, and it's knowing, the reason it's important to know exactly who you want to work with, because that's how you're going to find the groups that have those people. Let's say, for example, let's say you're a fitness trainer, you know, you need to find out like where do the people hang out that need my services or want my services. Well, maybe they're in a hiking group. Maybe they're in a crochet group. I don't know. But you got to discover like, where are those people? What's another connection you have with them besides fitness? Because they aren't doing fitness, maybe. I'm going to use an example, like maybe they aren't into fitness really, but they know they need to get in there. So you connect with them in this crochet group because you like crocheting. And then you start talking about fitness somehow. I don't know. And then next thing you know, this person is saying, oh, I really like her. She likes crochet.
Their fingers hurt and they need physical therapy for their hands from all that crocheting. No, just
Well, I want to say, so Melody mentioned, I recommend going to my marketing success events. plug Melody, good plug Melody. She's good at that. Yeah, Mary and I both belong to the marketing success team. And we also, we love it. It's a great, she says, you know, it's great for networking and education, which is true. And I want to touch on that really quick, Mary. And that is education. Some of the best networking I have been involved in was when I went to an event where I was there to learn the same thing as everybody else was there to learn.
Yes.
So for example, I actually went to a QuickBooks training about 2 years ago. And it wasn't because I was going to be a bookkeeper or anything like that, but I just wanted to learn how to use QuickBooks. so that I would know how to use it when I was using it and giving it to my bookkeeper. And it's just so I could know, right? Well, there was everybody else there was also learning QuickBooks. None of us were there to network with each other. That wasn't our purpose. Our purpose was to learn. But during breaks, we all talked about, what do you do? So it was natural. So I love going to events where I'm going to be educated, because it's a common ground with the other people that are there. And then it just ends up being natural networking. It's totally different. It doesn't have the feeling of everybody throwing their business cards at you. And you know what? Somebody did that to me the other day. They met me, and within 30 seconds, they had their business card in my hand. And it was so funny because I was actually at this event, and there was a friend of mine with me, and she's like, you just committed the #1 sin of networking. Never throw your cards at people. And it was so funny. We got into this conversation, and she's like, oh my God, thank you so much. I never knew that. So sometimes it's a matter of educating people, about
a teachable moment.
Etiquette, just like networking etiquette, so.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So Lynda and I talked about, where networking naturally occurs is at those training sessions. So, Melody's marketing success team is wonderful. My LinkedIn labs, any kind of conference or seminar or workshop that you're attending, you're not there to sell. The intention is to learn, but so naturally networking happens, and it's not, it doesn't feel forced, I guess. You're all there to learn something. So I think, so like social media, marketing world, amazing networking went on there. And I was there to volunteer. You mentioned CEO Space and Secret Knock.
Yeah.
Are your big events that you go to. So you know what, everyone, go out there, learn something, because we all should always be continually learning, and you will do some natural networking. That's what we ought to call this show, natural networking.
There you go.
It's awesome.
It is. Hey, before we go, Melody says, yes, shameless promotion. And Stephanie Lou came in. Yoo-hoo, Lou.
Hey, Stephanie. She's actually here out there. I think that I think the party's over. I think I have to go.
Oh, you gotta go clean up now. Oh, wait, so Amy is so excited for the LinkedIn Lab on November 29th, Mary.
Yay, I'm excited.
Your own LinkedIn Lab. Awesome. And then Melody says, I attended a book writing workshop that was good for networking because we were all learning how to write a book. And it's awesome because that's a great one, right? Because you're all learning how to write a book, and then you're all probably sharing some thoughts that you have about your own book, which gets people interested in what you're working on.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, what is your book about? It's not about your business at all, right? So it's totally just a natural way to network. And it's so much more comfortable for people like us who don't really like the networking scene, because we really want to make connections with people, true connections.
At the end of the day, it's about creating a relationship, nurturing that relationship, and supporting that relationship.
Exactly.
That's it. Anything else?
Oh, can I just really quick, I wanted to touch on Valerie's question about networking online. So Valerie, here's a good tip for networking online. First of all, you're doing an amazing job with your videos. I'm so proud of you. The improvement you've made in less than a year has been incredible. Keep doing it. You're going to get better and better and better. So, okay, there we go. So first that, but as far as networking online, here's what I highly recommend. Find some groups that have common interests that you have. So I'll go back to I'm not a crochet person, but I'll use the crochet example again. So maybe you find a crochet group online because you like to crochet. You go on there and you talk to people about crocheting, and then you start building this relationship. Well, eventually you're going to get around to start private messaging each other. You're going to build a relationship now in the private message, and then you can talk about what you do, what kind of services you provide, and you guys, it'll just be more of a natural way to learn about people. I love doing that. I do it all the time. I go into groups that have a common interest with me, and I comment on some of the things that are happening. Like, and Melody knows, like, I'm really good in the marketing success team. Like, I'm really good about engagement. You're just starting a conversation or coming into a conversation. And because I just feel so comfortable there, it's a great place to be, to get to know people.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Lynda, you know what? I've got to run. This was fabulous. I loved having you here. I would love to have you back, like next year, maybe on a different topic, because you're just fascinating to interview and chat with. You're so down to earth, and you're so supporting and encouraging, and I just want to continue to nurture our relationship and grow our relationship and support each other in our business. So everyone, please connect with Lynda West on LinkedIn and here on Facebook. Yes. And please follow me here on Facebook. It's typically the first and third Wednesdays of the month is when the Facebook LinkedIn live show is activated. And join me on Monday mornings at 7 a.m. for Monday Morning Motivation with Mary. I've got to run. Lynda, thank you so much for joining me. It's Mary Fain Brandt with the LinkedIn Bakery, serving up bite-sized tips so you don't get overwhelmed. Bye.
Bye. And now I got to figure out how to shut us out. Hold on a second, everybody. Like, oh yeah, I got to end the meeting. Okay, Mary, say bye.
Bye.
Bye.